Hi everybody, it's Lace. And as you know, we kind of wrapped up the dungeon or the deco contest recently in Mount Mitter that was sponsored by Portalarium. And I just kind of wanted to go through my craftable only version of this because this had been built as a guide for new players and even old players alike to just show the plethora of things that can be crafted and crafted only. A lot of players said their stuff was crafted only lots, but they had pledge items and everything else in there. This one truly is craftable only or quested or items that, are loot drops or stealable from in game. The exception, and this was an exception they allowed in there, was heraldry, and I think I put two banners in just to set off this front room that we're getting ready to go in. One of the other things that when we did the deco contest, they said put a little sheet explaining your room, and I'm going to leave this out here and actually keep this house up as kind of a showcase for new players to look at. Plus, I've written some new player guides that I wrote specifically for this contest that are in chests that people can come in and get and stuff that will not only help them play in the game and stuff, but give them ideas. And then also the same crafting books that are next door at the school next door are inside this one too. So it's kind of a one-stop shop right now with the crafting books, and then also just general player guides and stuff. I still have probably 10 more books to write on the player guides that just have more little tidbits, tips, and tricks. Many of the things that I've covered in the videos, but sometimes people don't like to watch a 30-minute video of me rambling on when they can just read it. Hey, who can blame them, right? Time is precious. So anyway, this is a four-story craftable inn. There are several different types of craftable homes. There's log cabin homes. There are pavilions that you can craft and things like that. I chose the inn because I wanted to theme each room to kind of showcase the different deco that could be used in each room. And like my flyer says, you're going to want to read the door signs above each room so you get a feel for what the theme was for the room, or maybe something funny or a hint or something like that. Um, the other thing is when you look at this, you can see these bone chimes. These are one of the coolest decos I find in the game. It comes from actually PvP. When you PvP somebody and you loot the little tombstone, you might get their hand or their jawbone or their skull. Well, you can use the skulls to do like skull candles, skull goblets, and then bone chimes. And it will be the bone chime of whoever the player is that you killed. So in this case, it's a bone chime of lace, or it could be a skull goblet of lace, or whatever, or whoever you killed, and things like that. One thing to keep in mind, the real challenge in doing this particular home, because it's so large and there's so many rooms to do, is the deco limit on a village lot interior is exactly the same as the deco limit inside a row home. And I can fill the hell out of a four-story row home if I do it, with a theme and everything in the different sections. So I had to be very Spartan in my deco and really try to drive a point home and not just have a really gaudy looking house going on, because there's just not enough deco slots. If you're doing a really small home, you can have all kinds of stuff going on, but in the larger village lots, you cannot. I don't understand their logic behind that, why the same interior deco count is there. Maybe we can get that changed at some point, because a village lot is technically twice as much, square footage, cubic footage, whatever, as a row, but it has the same interior. The outside deco is much larger count. Let's see if I just move something here just to bring this up real quick. Oh, well, that's fine. Just gonna pin that. So the exterior count, you can get 475 outside, 22 chests. Lighting's gonna be your expensive thing for the outside, but inside it's fine. But on the inside, you only still get 475, and that's the same amount that I get in a row home. So that's kind of the thing that made this a big challenge for me, and will too for you as you're trying to decorate any kind of village home. Like I said, the small one can be pretty gaudy and tons of stuff everywhere because you don't have that much space to decorate, but something large, you are going to have to make some very conscious choices and stuff to be able to effectively decorate it. So we're going to go ahead and wander in, and again, reading the signs. It's just talking about the interactive guides, and there's even some sheet music scattered about here. So this home is set up in Diamond Fields, and I placed it just a bit ago, and I updated my map to say Craftable Deco Demo, so that if I zoom out, oops, probably zoomed a little too far. The main zone in is right here, the main zone in docks, and I've labeled my POTs. There's a thread going on in the forums right now talking about, oh, we can't label things, but you can. I just placed this home and put it. Now, it doesn't show the actual home there yet, because that's something that updates, I think, on server side. But as far as putting the little label here, I just put this home down a few minutes ago, and it appeared right away, the label. So labels are one way to help you document things inside your POT. So this is right next to the crafting school. And once this house places, I'll probably adjust the label a little bit and stuff like that inside that tool. It's kind of going out of the scope of this, but just wanted to bring that point up. So let's go inside. And we're basically in a very large foyer, and this is set up as an inn, so you would think of this as the common room. So for me, when I decorate, one of the things that I find important is lighting. And you're going to see that different types of lights. Now this one's a built-in that came with the home, but you can see that I kind of went with what was there by using these. My only complaint against iron chandeliers or wall torches and things of that nature is you get a very yellowish glow. And so you'll see me use these frosted glass chandeliers or frosted glass lamps in a lot of places because you get more of a natural white light, and I just like the white light better than the yellow. The yellow works fine room by room depending on what you're doing, but I tend to like the crisper look of these. And we'll get upstairs and we'll look at the green lights of Elven and the Cobalt lights as well. So just going through the theme of this, one of the things that you can do in game is dye things. So we have a dyed pillow here, and I don't know if we can't examine it. I'd have to pick it up, and I don't want to undeco. But we also can dye the canvas stuff. There are some elven things that we can dye. There are some beds we can dye. And you can put two colors. So I could have done this like I did a green and a gray because I wanted to tone down the white color of it. So it's a green and a gray. And then just to show dye very vividly, I picked a really gaudy green to show the dye. With the deco resizing, this is one of the things I love the most. Now, I didn't resize these, I don't believe, but you can shrink them down. So I can shrink this little pepper down, right? This is one of my I love jalapeno cheese poppers. So this is my little ode to jalapeno cheese poppers in the game, and I put this in almost every bar type area that I do. I put some cheese and some jalapeno poppers, and that's my, but now I can deco size these down. I used to have, again, I was limited to 475 slots. I probably would have put, jalapenos all the way around if I had more deco slots, and maybe a little bit different on the cheese and stuff. But you can stack potatoes and onions and carrots, and now that you can resize things, you can do a lot prettier looking plates than this. But this is one that I've been doing before we even had deco resize. Now that's going to bother me that one's now the wrong size. 1 second. Just blow her back up. Oh, I think I blew her up too much. There we go. Anyway, there's that. With the deco resize, one of the things that bothered me on these fireplaces is that this naturally looked smaller, and then depending on your roof, it didn't really reach the roof, so it would like end here. But since you can now blow this part up, you can make these fit a little better, at least to me, aesthetically. So these are just some things to keep in mind, whether it's craftable only or not, shrinking and doing things. And if you don't know already, the natural key mapping is going to be Alt X to shrink something. You have to have it like on your mouse pointer. So if I grab this plate, so it'll be Alt X, and I have remapped mine to Alt C and Alt X because the Alt Z is the natural key, but I had to remap it to the C because I have a GE Force Experience thing going on and stuff. Now if I wanted to remap that, I can go into, what is it, controls, I think it's, no, is it interface? Yeah, no, I'll find it in a second. Maybe it is controls, or was it keyboard? Yeah, it's in here. It's kind of near the bottom here, and there's deco scale up and deco scale down, so it's pretty near the bottom. And you can see the default was the left Alt Z, and I remapped mine. So that's how you do the shrinking and stuff. So I can do it like with a book. I can make this book smaller, I can make it really big, so when you're doing a bookshelf of books, you can get a little more variety in your look on those by upscaling or downscaling the books. Also, remember to flip your books. Stack them not straight, but a little crooked. Maybe do a pile of books askew and stuff by rotating them. All this gives just a little bit more feel. Again, I was limited in my deco slot, so I couldn't show everything, and I definitely don't have one of everything craftable. Um, Folks making a bar, you know how the tavern, I don't have any tavern counters that are craftable in here, but you can make those. I like just the warm feeling of these carved oak figure cabinets, and you can even put little things in there if you have deco slots available. You could, a little surprise for your guests that something's in there. And again, with this, we kind of just went with, this is a cooking shop. Here's some pots and pans. We've got some eggs ready to go in the skillet. Here's some spices, some cheese. Some of these came from the Death Bunny drop. When you kill the Death Bunny, you might get some of these eggs. And I think I just made them larger. You get the little Death Bunny plate of Death Bunny cookies there and stuff. So again, I was just going with a baker's feel kind of thing to it. Once again, look, there's one of the special chests. Guess what it is? It's painted black with which is the Raman Djawadi. I can't say his name. The guy who did the Game of Thrones music, Westworld music, and he's done some other things. So it's black. It's one of my favorite pieces of sheet music that I've done in game. So anyway, you can get a free copy of it here, because I think it's really cool. It's a Rolling Stone song. So that's part of the interactivity. Again, so to try to tie a room together, using your dyes and stuff is a good way. So we use the green dye here. So what do? We use the green dye with the chairs, with the pre-dyed elven, trimmed table, just to tie everything in together. And then it goes with the Diamond Field theme, heraldry and stuff. So, and then the green plants. So we're just trying to give it a tie-in to the room. And you can experiment and re-dye things. We also now have dyeable cake slices, so I went with the Shroud of the Avatar colors, our red, blue, gold things, It's kind of in Lord British's symbol and stuff. Casks, you can craft casks and you can brew in them and stuff. This is, again, all craftable only. You'll make the beer casks. You will grow the hops or grapes or whatever you need to do, and then you'll put them in the cask, and then they'll age over time, and then it'll tell you when it matures. Now if you look up here, you can see the date that it is currently in game. So if you just brewed something and it's going to tell you what date it is, you'll know when to find it. I can't remember the conversion thing on times in game. Was it 1 hour is 1 hour of real life time is 7 days in game, I believe, or something like that. So that gives you an idea. There is a 25 quote-unquote year whiskey that will take 1 year, 1 real year to mature. So like when brewing came out, I think it's going to mature on everybody that planted, made them right away. I think within the next month or so. So those will be available. These are stealable decos. They might drop, but I always left the little triple X on the whiskey in the little vials. These are my favorite ones because they almost look like little shot glasses. I don't have anything that looks like a beer glass quite honestly yet. Maybe with the shrinkage we could get some bottles to look more beer bottle-ish, but there's not really any beer bottles. One of the things I always try to do when decorating is it's about the detail work for me. So here we've got a bottle and somebody's doing shots. I've made beer pong tables using mugs and stuff, things like that. But there's a common room, so what should we have? We should have public restrooms in here. And with just this last release, we were able to get from one of the random encounter merchants that are new these little tiny tabletop statues, and I was able to use those to kind of designate the male and female bathrooms, quote unquote, and without, again, so this is crafted, so we've got a drop. Somebody left a present in the toilet. But we were able to now designate those without having to use signage. I don't know, I think it's a little cooler to be able to do something like that. And of course we've got a tub, maybe with some essences and a mirror and things. I would have loved to put some towels out here and things like that. I think there are some perfume bottles you can get from the Crown Shop. And again, remember, inside your home you can put bulletin boards that are interactive to drive home any message that you do inside your deco. So one of the other things I like to do, and I build these sometimes in rooms and sometimes in a walled off area, is I always tend to put a smoker inside my houses with just a brazier, some shelves, and we've got our meat smoking and stuff. And so that goes along with our little sign, smoke meats and fish by the pound. And we can see that we've got something that weighs probably a pound in our steak. To me, it's all about the detail in making a great home. Now, of course, for the deco contest, you couldn't go through all this because we had 90 seconds to show everything. And there's technically, what, 16, 17 rooms in this home? So half of them, couldn't be shown. And that was just the limitation of the contest. And so when you're doing a home for yourself, though, you would hope that people actually spend time to look at the detail. That's one of the things I do, when somebody goes like, hey, come look at my home. I'm clicking on every little piece of paper because I want to know what it was that they were thinking when they did it and stuff. To me, that's what deco's all about. So, little details. Putting a fork by a plate. They have some things where you can buy, I think, in the Crown Shop that are place settings. So the benefit of that is it would only take up one deco slot for the 6 things of like a plate, a fork, and whatever. But that's not craftable only, so I couldn't do it here. I literally crafted the forks, literally stole or grabbed the plates and stuff like that. So that's why there's not a fork, a knife, a spoon, and everything there. I just don't have the deco slots in this home. One good thing to note, though, if you're really wanting to set a beautiful place, inside your basements, you have a lot more deco slots than you do inside the actual house. And I think that's, again, part of the game mechanics is because you load into a basement, whereas the homes are all shown. So there's a larger load time depending on the scene. But inside the basement, you're physically loading into a brand new scene. So that's why you can have more deco in them. So if you're really wanting to get intricate, there's plenty of great basements you can use. Also, with the addition of the dungeons now, you can build rooms inside your dungeons, and you have pretty large deco limits. The more you expand the size of your dungeon, the more number of deco slots you get for lighting and things like that. So you can build pretty intricate little places now in your dungeons. It's almost better now to probably deco a dungeon or a basement. The only problem is people might not wander in unless you're having a specific event there or something. But these are just things to keep in mind in general. So we went up. We're going to go up to the next floor. You can craft letters in the game, letters and numbers. I saw one of the cool houses that I saw in the deco contest, or one of the unique features I saw in one, is somebody put a Ouija board on a wall. I thought that was really smart and intuitive. They used all the runic letters to spell out the yes, no, and all that on the Ouija board. Me, I just use it to label the floor landings, because if this was quote unquote a real inn where people were staying, they're going to remember I'm on floor 2, I'm on floor 3, I'm on floor 4. In other ones, sometimes I put a visual aid there. But in this one, again, limited on slots, I just put the numbers. So we're on floor 2. This particular inn as well, sometimes I'll do rugs in here, but I really like the clean feel of the basically white plastered walls. And again, I'm trying to get down with the yellow, get rid of as much yellow color by using the white clear skylights and stuff. These banners, as you complete different parts of the quests and games and stuff, you'll get the banners. There's 2 quests to get these really cool looking virtues and anti-virtues, I think is what is it? Principles and virtues, and then anti-principles and anti-virtues. And these are, they're blown up because I want you to be able to read them, but you can see it's in runic. And the symbols, these are the same symbols that you're going to find on the devotionals in your POT or NPC towns that give you the little tiny buffs and stuff. So these symbols correspond to well, at least these do, correspond to that. So let's just start back at the first part. You can make clocks in game. You'll see them move. There was a clock downstairs and stuff. They're going to use garnet, so you'll go out and farm some garnet from the mines and stuff, along with boards and metal scraps and some other little things, mechanical parts and stuff like that. But they actually move, and that's just really nice. There's a bunch of different models and styles of those. So this first room, let's see what it says. While you can craft your own infirmary, there are some unique items available from the Make a Difference store on the main website. Since we now moved to the crown-only kind of in-game store, I think a lot of people forget that or don't know that there are actually charity items that you can buy where part of the proceeds or the I guess the quote unquote profit or whatever goes to actual charities that they've set up. The first one was set. The first items that went in there were the breast cancer awareness items that Shooter Jennings, who plays the game as well, he said, yeah, you can sell the stuff like the album cover and pink, really flaming hot pink dye that went with that album cover and stuff. And the proceeds go to a breast cancer research foundation. I believe there's one in Europe and one in the U.S. that they chose. That those monies go get donated to them. There's autism awareness. There is well, the Children's Hospital and Charities is the medical one, and I mean I know I'm leaving one out. There's another one. I can't remember, but anyway, if you go to shroudoftheavatar.com, and instead of going where you used to go to the store, there is the Make a Difference, and that's where you can find some unique items there that you are not going to find in the Crown Shop. You are going to have to spend real life cash because, well, they need to give the real life cash to the charity. You may find players selling those items, but other than that, that's where you'll need to go. And so in here, basically, I just made a little infirmary. Again, all items that can be crafted or found in the game. You've got your little mosaic of the avatar to give it kind of a children's ward feel. Little creepy dolly. But you can make these little operating tables, dividers, and I think I shrunk mine down and stuff. IV stands, wheelchairs, things like that. So around Halloween, you'll see a lot of people use operating tables and put skeletons on them and all this stuff to make it seem all creepy and macabre and things like that. But you can also make a cheery little clinic, I guess, if you want. But that was just to show that some of those things that are mirrored from the Make a Difference store, but you can also make in game. Next up, we've got the War Room. With a little ode to that song. War, good God, y'all. What is it good for? Yeah, you don't want to hear me sing. Anyway, with this, you can make this framed Novian map. Now it's blown up again for inside here. You've got your onks, and you can see we've got some catapults about to attack these people, or whatever your imagination desires. Limited on deco, so I didn't put it on a really large table, make a really large. You can almost think of from Game of Thrones, the map room and Dragonstone and stuff like that, and then moving the pieces as you know they go to war or whatever, and stuff. So I had to put the Phoenix in there because I think it's one of the great mounted heads in the game. I really like the Phoenix. I like the way it looks and stuff. So yeah, a little war room. We were talking about this is the light that the Cobalt Chandelier gives off. It's not real yellow, but it's not real light either. This one's going to give us our yellow. This hanging wall or iron wall lamp, again craftable. You'll see at booksellers that you can get maps and stuff, so you can use those. They also drop off of bundles and mobs and whatnot, and things. These little statues here were the new ones, kind of like the ones in the bathroom that came off the new merchant in game. This is a small Ankh crafted. Tabletop catapults crafted. Orb of obliteration. Those come off of the Death Bunny. Get those before they're gone. Okay, next up is the big room where I put a bookseller looking sign. And remember, all these signs are craftable. When you make the signs, you will get one hanging that's kind of, it'll stick on a wall and hang out. It's kind of, now that we can shrink them, they'll probably fit a little better. But I had a lot of hard times placing those because they would get in the way of your character going under them and stuff. Then there's the ground sign. It'll place on the ground and stands up. I don't have any of those in here. But when you make one of any kind of sign, you get one of each of the three types. So if you need a bunch of flat book ones, you'll have to make a bunch of those. I think even I've had at points public caches with extra signs for folks to just take what they need, because usually what I need might not be what you need, and I've already made them, so you might as well just go ahead and use the ones I got. I'm not going to spend the time trying to list them on a vendor for a couple hundred gold for something that's just not going to be very common to sell. So a lot of times I'll give it away, and it's like, put your extras in here, take what you want, you know, and things like that. So we'll do that in Diamond Fields with just a public cache for that. Same thing with the letters, making the runic letters. Maybe I only need certain vowels or certain characters, and I make a whole set. Well, here's my leftovers. Take what you need, throw in your leftovers, kind of thing, for that. So with the book thing, It's going to be fill your home library with new player guides from Lace, crafting compendiums, and more. So what I did was, oops, I'm getting overweight here because I'm in my, this is what I call my butch lace look. Butch lace. It's her construction gear. It's actually her part of her YMCA. It's the construction worker. So in this room, it's just all chests. But anytime you make a chest, well, these are public caches. Anytime you make a sack, a backpack, a trunk, one of the player chests, or even public caches and stuff, any kind of container, when you put it in your inventory, I don't know if I have anything in my inventory. Well, there's one. I have the option to right click it and I can rename the item. And so that's what I did here. As we can see that this is my new player guide volume 3, volume 2, volume 1. And you can go through here and just, please don't take all, so I have to reprint them, but you can grab a copy of it and it'll just start out. This also highlights the New Britannia numbering system that Viram and Wombi set up. It's kind of RP-ish, but everybody got their prefix numbers, signed up for prefix numbers, and I'm sure there's still some available, of course, because there's 50,000 that it can start off with, and then it's up to you to do what your suffix is, you know, in the part. This is the part that you sign up for on the forums, and then this is the part where you number it. So depending on what your book, so like that one's that. I think crafting compendiums are over here. I'm just gonna open one so we can see this one starts off as 1007, and these are 1001. So just you have to keep your numbers to yourself, kind of thing. But anyway, these books are all in here. As guides, and as a new player, I would highly encourage you to come visit and grab a copy and read through. It is just going to go through some various different things and stuff. Not everything's in the player handbook because the game has just so many systems and stuff. Unfortunately, with books that you create, this is craftable only, you can buy the blank books from booksellers. I know there's one at Exeter, there's one in Owlshead, definitely other places. You can buy blank books, and if I don't know if I have any blank books on me, just to go over this real quick. Blank sheet music, blank bulletin board, blank sheet. It kind of works the same way as a sheet. Well, except that a book you can do an import, so I guess that's not a good example. I don't have any blank books on me, but you can import text that you've created, and I've done several videos on creating your own books, doing the ASCII art, and things like that. But again, it's all craftable. No public cache is bought from an NPC vendor. And when you set up a public cache, anybody can take what's in there. So be careful when you set one of these up. Don't use these for storing your stuff, your real stuff, because anybody can take your real stuff. So these are, and they're pretty expensive. They're like 20,000 a piece off NPC vendors. So you can see I put a butt ton of money into this room, but it was just to house all these books. So then we go through the crafting compendium. And then I think I put some of the special ones that I'd done over time. Yeah, so it's like books that go for their Diamond Fields by golf course. Again, I wanted to highlight for players how they can just do colors, and they can make all kinds of things out of their books. A lot of folks now do Christmas cards or holiday cards where they'll do the lettering and colors. And again, look for my videos on how to do all that. But this is the room that you can come in here and get all the player guides. I know there's some people that collect all the player books that folks have written, so you'll probably want to come in here and grab the ones that you don't have already from me. But anyway, there's just a lot of good information about different systems and stuff that doesn't all fit in the player handbook, and you don't want to sit there and watch all my videos. So next up, I think I just did 2 rooms just to show basic bedroom kind of things that you can do. Again, with the dye can really set off the theme of the color of the room. So I took this fancy bed that I created and I dyed the bedspread one color, I dyed the pillows another color, and then I tried to tie in the chair to that. So all these little things, all this little detail work really takes it from just having a bed and a room and a table with a bunch of shit on it to really making it tie in. And again, we went with the blue. We wanted the blue to highlight in here, so we've got the blue lamp, the blue flowers, the blue sword, and stuff. There aren't really any rugs. You cannot craft this rug. You have to buy this. Oh, hold on. People are messaging me. You can't really craft these. You have to get these from an NPC, and I think they're hugely overpriced. I wish we could craft these in game, but we cannot. And again, the blue light, because I was trying to get rid of all that yellow. So that's the first bedroom. Let me answer somebody, and I'll be right back. Okay, so there we go. Somebody was just asking where somebody was, and I had to give that information out. So anyways, we're getting ready to go into the second bedroom. And again, deco slots, but wanted to give the hallway a little feel. Somebody might sit on here, and again with the dine. Now I could have made this a whole solid color, but I kind of like the stripes and the simplicity of it. I do dye some things fully, two colors, two of the same color to make the whole thing solid and stuff. And again, it's just going to depend on what you want. And things, and that's the canvas furniture that can be dyed. You can dye, now those pillows are part of it, but you could dye individual pillows. My favorite thing that I've been using a lot lately is there's a recipe called common chair, or is it, no, padded chair, and it has just the seat cushion in the back that will dye, and those look really sharp when dyed, and stuff. And I don't know if I have any I think somewhere in here I might have one, but I'll have to remember to point that out. Like I was talking about the mantle clocks. Now, it's not this one, it's the large one that we had outside. Yeah, it's not this one because the doors don't open. But inside this large cabinet that was on the first floor, it was the carved oak. The doors open on it, and inside it now, because of deco resizing, you can take all your little crafted trunks like this, resize them down, and stick them inside the large carved oak. So basically you can, all your chests that you put all your stuff in, you can now put them inside the other chest on the shelves and kind of declutter your home. I think there's like a Netflix show on that, but you can now declutter your home by putting them inside that large carved oak. This was also to show, this room and its simplicity was also just to show the different types of dividers, but how this divider kind of ties in with the design on this, which ties in with the design kind of on that, kind of makes things all look the same. Kind of like how those carved oak cabinets that I use downstairs tie in with the large carved oak that I was just talking about. These beds that you can create can dye the sheets. Now I just put a red in here to brighten up this area, but it could be whatever color. You could put the cycling dyes or the glowing dyes or the pulsing dyes or all that. But again, this was craftable only, and those dyes are not craftable, but the red dye is. These are hedge spiral trees, and there's also hedge spear trees, and I think there's some issues in a couple homes where they won't place on the first floor, but they place on the second floor. I haven't quite narrowed it down to be very specific in a bug report, but again, it just gives you a little color without having to be a hanging plant or something like that. The stuff that you grow, your roses and the roses and things like that that you grow in the potted plants, they do not shrink down because they're harvestable, and if you could shrink them down, then people could fit more on the lot and grow more, and there's that whole mess. I'd love to see a deco version only where I can't pick the fruit or the plant or whatever and then be able to shrink those down, because they're just so large, those potted plants, that they just don't fit well inside homes. They only work outside. But if you could scale them even outside in a garden, can you imagine the variation and the beauty that you could get? It's a small tiny red rose bush beside a really giant red rose bush. It just gives more depth and feel to your deco. These battle axes are found outside Screc if you're trying to look for them. They also are called quote-unquote steam hammers inside Spectral Peaks, and they look a little different. These are the ones that are actually outside Screc, as I said. When you put a desk up or something, throw a little piece of paper with a note or something on there. This happened to be a piece of sheet music on this one. I don't have an instrument equipped. If I did, and I clicked it, I should be able to play it. I'm going back to the Death Bunny theme, which is active right now. You can shrink them or make large ones or small ones. When you're setting up your little living area, put some hats or shoes or boots, and I'll get more into that in a moment. But I was trying to do this kind of theme. If you look at the carved intricacies, this is also the dinner chair, also one of my favorite chairs. Can't be dyed, but just has a lot of nice detail to it. And that kind of covers that floor. Let's move on up. Sing the Jefferson song, moving on up. Cobalt lamp in here. Just a little wall candle just to show those. There's many types of candles that drop off of mobs and stuff. Candelabras, little tiny candelabras and stuff that you can use all over the place. and that was just showing kind of one of those. Um, Also, so this is floor 3. Ah, yes, I know what floor this is. Oops. So here we have, again, putting a little sign or something for your guests or whatever. Thirsty Troll Brewery Taste Test Room, now hiring. 25-year brew available soon. That's what I was talking about, that will be maturing for everybody that pretty much planted it pretty quickly. Looks like our thingy's clipping in there. It wasn't the other day. These are the plants that I was talking about that I wish I could shrink down. But grapes, I would love to have had grapes, hops, barley all in here, but smaller. Again, with the dye, I did a full, there's no stripes in this. I did full dye. I wanted to make this, it's a taste testing room. So we've got our goblets, and if we're really taste testing, we might be using some things to test the acidity levels and things like that, so that possibly you can make adjustments to your brew. Through here, I just put one of each type of cask that we can currently create with a different tide. So this is Palisade White. Looks like I put Fiera Steels. I grabbed the wrong barrel. I grabbed one made by somebody else, but that's okay. It's still crafted. It looks like it's an Heidelman beer. Perennial Red, 2-year whiskey, Harvest Wheat beer, Drakbach beer, and then the 25-year whiskey. So it looks like I've got 30 days left on mine. I don't think I got mine put in exactly the first day. I think I was messing around doing other stuff, but everybody should pretty close within 27-30 days. Folks should start having some of this. There it is, the 25-year. So again, with the dye, so now you can see a solid color dye. Light aqua is one of my favorite colors. My bedroom's kind of that color. I call it San Diego Charger baby blue. Next up, I made a little room. Taste the rainbow of colors from the old dye shop, because again, dye is really important in tying all your rooms together. Use non-exceptional gear with some dye to spruce up your place. So when you're trying to craft gear, you end up with a lot of non-exceptional stuff. And if you're doing the cloth work, well, you can throw some dye on it, like in these examples, and really make a lively display. Now, I don't think I dyed every piece. Looks like I forgot to dye that one. Whoopsie, my bad, and I forgot to dye that one. It just ran out of time on the deco contest, but anyway, you get the point where you can just put some different things. Now, you're going to say this bookshelf's different from the other ones. This one's bought from those expensive NPC deco people. Just give us the recipe so we can make it cheaper than those. But anyway, your dyes are going to be made on the tanning station. And you can see this room's a little bit less yellow, because why? White light. Well, white/frosted light and stuff. And then just to tie it together, it was you're going to have to spin the cloth, and then, make the bolts, then probably make the stuff, and just make it a dye-themed room, and really just talk about dyes and how dyeing some of these, well, gosh, those are all non-dyed. There's one's dyed. But anyway, dyeing something is a way to just throw in a splash of color into your room. Stealable bolts, one of the little tables shrunk down. But yeah, dye is really awesome. And they did say, oh, it's gonna come soon, they said. For real this time, for real. Leather dye and metal dye for our armor. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. That's just gonna give you even more choices. Shoplifters will be prosecuted, maybe executed. Just a little humor there. As we look inside our kind of quote-unquote dungeon theme. In some of these, I put a fancy bed, because, I might be kinky that way. We do have a toilet. There's our bucket. And I don't know what's on the thingy. I don't remember what I put on the bed. Oh, a skull. A skull. We've got our pillory that you can craft. We've got our shackles where you can chain your prisoners up. They're waiting to get in there, and then the key that's haphazardly left behind. Whoopsie, my bad. Kind of like that dog in Pirates of the Caribbean that are trying to get the dog to give him the key to get out. That was kind of the thought of that behind there. So this does fit inside this inn, and I think I actually blew it up instead of shrunk it down so it would fill out more of the room, but you could shrink it down as well. There's been through the monthly rewards and stuff, not the monthly rewards, what is it, the stretch goal things that we do monthly. There's been more torture things given away that you can probably find, even if you're brand new to the game starting out, that people will be selling and stuff. So there's torture racks and hanging cages and stuff. But again, these are the craftable ones, and even with craftable things, there's even a guillotine that you can make in game and stuff like that. So you could get pretty creative if you want to make a darker side of Sears kind of thing going on. For this room, or for this hallway, kind of like how the other one had a lot of artwork, this is just some of the different mounted heads that you can get, and you can shrink them up and down now. Let's see, what's this one? Elves Welcome, Prism Loves Diversity. And this is going to show the elven stuff. Now this room's going to look very green because the elven furniture is very green and the elven lights are very green, but I just kind of wanted to put it in one place. So they've got a little mirror. We can dye the bedspread, and I don't know if I dyed this one or not. I think I kept everything pretty original and green, and then just set off some of that dang green to some yellow. I feel like there's the elven chandelier. It's quite pretty, but it's very, very green. I wish it was a little bit softer green, but hey. And then we've got a pillow, again, that could be dyed, just to show that you could offset it. But now you can see some of the elven furniture. These recipes you can't get from NPC Merchant. You can't get from an NPC like, some of your other regular common recipes. These come drop only from bundles and stuff. But you can find a lot of players selling these and stuff to make the bed, the elven coffee table, the little night lights and stuff, and the sconces and the wall sconces. So this really was just to showcase the elven side of things, and I guess I thought that the unicorns kind of fit the elves. Next up, the Bear, and the Maiden Fair Poker Hall. This takes me back to our World Series of Poker House that we have here in Diamond Fields, where we have a little table set up for playing poker. And again, another little nod to Game of Thrones, the Bear, and the Maiden Fair. I liked that music, or that song and stuff from that episode and stuff. So it's a poker table, and here inside here, we have our Texas Hold'em rules from our in-game contest of what we do for playing poker inside the game. And these are just the rules that were established to correspond. There should have been a chest there. Where'd my chest go? Should have been a chest with all the Texas Hold'em poker rules. But anyway, this corresponds with an event that we've had and will have, where we do a poker World Series of Poker with elimination rounds over the course of weeks, different times to get different players able to play, and then come down to a final round and stuff with winners. I think some of the text in there might say 10 kotas and stuff, and that's before there was the 100 kota multiplier, so keep that in mind. Okay, so this hallway, our next one, is this our 4th floor? Yes, it is. On our 4th floor, you'll see that the wall art's a little different. These are pieces that you can get from finding dead bodies and turning in the mail to a town crier in any of the towns, and you can get these different prints: water, magic, fire, and earth. And that's what those prints are on the wall. Again, questable from in-game. This one, room inspired by Under a Violet Moon by Blackmore's Night. A member of Rainbow and Deep Purple. He's done Ren Fair music lately, and Help Yourself to Some Sheet music. This is for Richie Blackmore, is who I'm talking about. So I just felt like Under a Violet Moon felt very mage-like to me. So we've got the little violet wizard's cap, and it just seems like, he's a moon mage. He's looking at Novia. He's looking at the moon dial, which you can craft. Now there's giant ones that go on lots, but you can craft one and it works and stuff. And after I've touched the moon dial or an astrolabe, if I look down in the night sky, I would actually see the lines marking the constellation. And when I look at those things, I will know that any one of the Kabbalists or Kabbalists, or however you want to say it, are going to be attacking a certain city based on that. And I believe now, Core had set up a website originally doing that, but I believe Moongate Traveler has one now, and it's going to tell you where those guys are attacking and stuff. But also just by learning the constellations in the sky and stuff, you can see how things are affected. I highly suggest taking Bowen Bloodgood's Guide to Astronomy's classes that he does. I believe they're on Sundays now. I can't tell you the time, but if you look under player run events and stuff, he's kind of the master of the astronomy stuff, and everything in the sky that moves ties to these moon dials or astrolabes, and ties to the sieges and what towns are under attack and how all that works, and it's pretty interesting. So this was just supposed to be like a little moon mage room and stuff. And yeah, there's some sheet music there. Hint, hint. I probably passed some of the other ones by accident. My bad. Next one, we've got Relax, Don't Do It. A little Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Just let your body go to it. And what's in here? Oh, I think it's YMCA. Yeah, little YMCA seemed to fit the hot tub. Yes, you can craft your own hot tub in game. You can craft your own bathtubs, hot tubs, and stuff like this. Throw in some potted little coconut plants and stuff, and some little bit of scenery, a little bit of some naked booty statues and stuff, and you've got quite the little risque place to hang out and lounge. Christmas. Christmas is very craftable, and it is indeed. You can make many, many things in Christmas. All these different types of wreaths and garlands and snowmen and boxes and gingerbread homes and stockings and stuff. So you can definitely, even if you haven't been here for years and years, you can make a very nice Christmas display come that time of year. And there's usually deco contests for that. And I believe there's some, yeah, a few of my favorite things. Sheet music, hint, hint. There you go. Next up, what do we got? Frack me, it's the Cylons, Go Viper Squadrons. Yeah, so this was my little ode to Battlestar Galactica. If you remember the original, they had like Red Squadron, Blue Squadron, Green Squadron. So we just kind of did a little Red Squadron Blue, and then the sheet music for the original Battlestar Galactica is there. And you can see the weapons, different weapons. These are, that's an artifact. That's just a Bardiche, right? Oh no, it's a Satyr Axe, okay? An Elven staff. All these things drop in game, and they make excellent deco. You don't have to craft them. You can just use them, even if they're in a very disrepair. Like this is 0 of 31 durability. It's still great deco. And once again, the bunk beds, you can dye the bunk beds and stuff, and you could even dye the pillows, but I chose not to. And then we have our fancy one-man band hat and one-man band shirt that you can make, and you can dye those different colors and stuff. Here's the chairs that I was talking about that I like. I really like these padded chairs, and just putting just a splash of color on them to set up maybe a tea room or a coffee shop or something. Using these chairs, they have a small footprint. They're not overbearing. They work well with a little small end table and stuff. One of the things with deco resizing is keep in mind anything that you can interact with, like a bed or a chair, you cannot scale up and down because you have to fit your character's fat booty in them. So those things are not going to scale. Everything else is. Here's another example of a clock, and once again with the clock, so it's like almost 1. If we look at the time, what time does it say? Midnight. So yeah, it's after midnight. This one's not as exact, but we know it's really 12:45. And as we can see, as time's progressing here, while I'm talking, we can see the second hand of the clock, and that's showing you exactly how fast in real life time a day is on Novia. What's next? Music room. That's just self-marketing there. This right here is something that you can find inside a chest, inside Spectral Mines, by the way. It's called the Dragonbone Throne. It was one of the very early decos that we had in game. It's pretty ominous. So in here, I just wanted to showcase how all the different instruments that you can craft in game can be used in deco. All these things you can make or find or drop, like the cowbell drops off reapers. Everything else is pretty much craftable. And while it's all crammed into this one room, the idea though is just to think about sprinkling, like I'll do a couch and I'll lay a lute on it, or I'll lay a harp on it, and things like that. I'll throw in a record player there somewhere, throw in a giant record player somewhere with a mixing board. All these things, are stuff that you can craft in game and just really set your deco apart in your house. I think that's going to wrap it up for the 4th floor. Just going to do one more thing, I think, and sign out. Down. Oh, I did remove that cabinet. Darn, I was going to show that cabinet, but I had a cabinet over here, the one I was talking about that had the doors that open. It's the giant version of this. And you can shrink down, like I said, those trunks and put them inside it. It's a giant wardrobe. And the doors open, you can put all your boxes in there. So that's one way to declutter your house, like I've been talking about. So again, I didn't cover not every single piece of craftable furniture is in here because there's far more than 475. Or I might want to repeat, craftable, stealable, NPC bought, quest, whatever. There's far more than that. But I wanted to just give you an idea that you can really make a really gorgeous home just playing. There's always been the argument, oh, it's pay to win, it's pay to win. It's very not pay to win. Everything here was done just by playing the game and crafting it or finding it and whatever. And that was the whole point of me doing this deco only home, was to just show how much creativity you could put into it. I really wish I had more deco slots, but don't we all the time? I think that's going to end it. Take care, everybody. Happy hunting. Be safe. And feel free to ask me questions anytime in game. Just, add me to your friends list and ask stuff and everything. Bye-bye.